Welcome back to Banjo Kazooie, and so this is kind of a weird episode. So I already recorded this, as in I already did this, but due to an unforeseen error on, I'm not gonna say my part because it's not really my fault, but Audacity fucked up. Audacity is the recording software that I use to record my microphone. It fucked up, and for some reason there's like really bad echo in my voice capture. But not only that, it also fucked up because for some weird ass reason, it, like the game was the game recording was also like really laggy. It was delayed as hell. So there was a lot of problems basically. So I'm doing this again, and me doing this again, by the way, doesn't guarantee that I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing. Like, for example, I came to the wrong place already. But yeah. So I kind of feel bad because I want to say I had like amazing commentary. But I had some pretty nice things to talk about in that previous episode that is now gone forever, that no longer exists. But yeah, so oh well, I mean, sometimes how it is, I guess. But yeah, so let's just get back right into it. So okay, so yeah, like there's yeah, this is a fun one. This is a fun one. There's a lot of like tropes in games when it comes to like video game levels. Obviously, you have the obvious ones that, you know, like, I mean, I guess it's not really a trope, but it's a setting. It's a set piece, I guess, for a lot of levels. And that is the, you know, you got water levels, you got like beach levels, you got, you know, mountain levels, and mountain levels are usually snow levels, etc., etc. Then you have, in my opinion, the worst of them all. Like I know I said I hate water levels, and yeah, I still hate water levels, but there's something I hate more than water levels, and that is the fucking desert levels. Desert levels, I think, all suck, but they also have some of the best music. Like, I don't know what it is about desert levels, but they got that really nice music to compensate the shittiness of how it usually is. And I'm gonna say that for most part, desert levels, you get some pretty good rep because of like Gerudo Valley and shit like that. But sand in general, just sand, I think is just such a kind of like thing to deal with in games. I don't like I personally in person hate fucking sand. And in games, I feel like they make sand as just like the worst thing possible. Like, it's like, hey, how can we make sand just fucking annoying? And usually what happens is, like, you know, you got like games where snow like makes you move really slow and shit like that. Like, oh, you're like getting cold, like better get warmed up and shit. Like, desert levels is the exact opposite, where it's like, oh, it's too hot, like stay cool. And it's just got, oh wait, actually let's go grab this. But yeah, I just don't like desert levels. That's really all it is. There's a lot of it, but mostly comes from just bad desert levels in games. Super Mario 64 had a desert level. I'm trying to think, was there more than one? I think there was just a one. But that one that they had, I hated that level so much that every time I had to replay Super Mario 64, that was the level that made me just kind of not want to. But yeah, just not a fan. Not a fan. That's all I gotta say. But it could be worse. It could always be worse. Like snow levels are just as bad. But yeah, so Alright, that's just awesome. I believe I had to ground pound? Yeah, I'm not fast enough. I have to like wear that shoes. Like I needed to wear the shoes and I think you run really fast. I'm not 100% positive, but yeah. Shut the fuck up. Alright, let's go. Alright, so this level might go by faster just because like I did do a little bit of it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it will be fast. I'm just saying there's a possibility that it will be fast. See, like, it just fucking sand. Fucking sand. It sucks. And, yeah, just, not a lot to talk about in this episode, because I kind of fucking talked about everything I wanted to talk about beforehand. So, like, any of that stuff is pretty old news now, so I guess I don't really want to talk about it. Oh, I will talk about something. And this is actually kind of relevant to mainly just me. I'm sorry if this doesn't apply to you, but I want to talk about this because this is one of those things that I hear a lot of people talk about, and they're like, oh, this sucks, blah, 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 like, I hate how this is the standards and whatnot, but, okay. So, for those of you who are unaware, I'll explain to you a little bit of history on a video game franchise. Call of Duty was a primarily PC series, as in the first game was PC. The second game was also PC, but came to consoles. And then the third game also was just consoles, but except this time the third game, Call of Duty 3, never came to consoles. Or not consoles, it never came to PC. Where I'm getting at with this is, so Call of Duty is a franchise that's been around for a really long time. If it isn't obvious, there's like a shit ton of Call of Duty games, as I think there's a new one every fucking year. Call of Duty, I want to say like Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops 1. One of those games, right? Oh, wrong one. One of those Call of Duty games, they had a deal with Microsoft very specifically to basically release DLC and shit earlier on Xbox. So I remember Black Ops 1 very specifically was the big one, because that was when Zombies, which is Call of Duty side mode for the games made by Treyarch, was like blowing the hell up. And Microsoft was, you know, that was a pretty sweet deal to have, because, you know, Call of Duty is like the thing that was rivaling Halo. And I know a lot of people want to talk about Battlefield, but like I think for me personally, I noticed it being mostly Call of Duty and Halo on Xbox specifically, being the two that's like at each other's throats for the FPS market. Battlefield, of course, yeah, it is a competitor, but like I don't think in any way was anywhere close to the other two. Either way, so point is, Microsoft had a pretty sweet deal, and at some point, I don't remember exactly when, I want to say Call of Duty Ghosts, like right around when PS4 and Xbox One and whatnot was becoming a thing, right? Microsoft no longer had that partnership with Xbox, and instead it became a partnership with PlayStation, where now PlayStation was the one that was getting all the DLC packs and all that other, you know, good stuff first. So, why is this relevant? Well, here's the thing. So, getting expansions for your game, as in like bits of it, as in just like a gun, or a couple maps, like a month later, isn't too bad in my opinion. Because I mean, like Destiny 1, straight up, and Destiny 2 also actually, straight up had weapons that never came to Xbox, and Destiny 2 doesn't. I believe until I'm pretty sure it doesn't have it right now. It will once it goes free to play soon. Even that game doesn't have the weapons that PlayStation exclusive ones. So like the thing is when we're talking about like little bits of it, it's not so bad for something to have exclusive like rights over it, because it's just like it's a part of it. It's like it's a part of it, as in like it's like a thing. It's not like an entire game mode or anything like that. So now the problem right now, that's the hot topic to discuss with Call of Duty right now that is happening is, so Call of Duty Modern Warfare is getting a survival mode, which it's like, alright, whatever. The problem is that the survival mode, which is a separate mode in its entirety from everything else that's bundled in the game, as in like it's separate from the special ops mode, which is I believe a series of missions and campaign, you know, it's separate from all of those. It's its own thing. It's releasing on PC and on Xbox an entire year later. So, if you remember what I was talking about, Call of Duty is an annual franchise. So, the problem that people are having is by the fucking time that game will like that mode will drop for Xbox and for PC, the next goddamn Call of Duty is gonna be out. By that point, you may as well just be like, well, fuck it. Like, I'm not gonna play that mode, or maybe you will, but like, you know, it's gonna be one of those things where it's already run its course because it's been a fucking year already. I'm not saying like the player base is gonna die or anything like that, but generally with Call of Duty games like these, you know, people play them for like a year, and then like the next big thing comes around, and then everyone's just done. So the problem is in my opinion, it's unfair for PC and for Xbox in this very specific scenario, right? Because this is an entire mode. It's not like it's not like a weapon or anything like that. It is an entire game mode. It's unfair for an entire game mode to be locked exclusive to a system for an entire year, but the game still is the same price across all systems. Like, if the game was like, at least, okay, I'm going off of US dollars here, because in Canada the games are more expensive. If the game was like $50 on every other platform except for PlayStation, that's totally fair, because you don't get a thing for like another year. And then if that survival mode became like a fucking DLC thing, that would make more sense, because it's like you're paying up front for something you won't have for an entire year. It's a bit ridiculous in my opinion. So the problem is you know, people are saying that it's unfair to them, and I totally agree, it's unfair. I'm not even gonna buy the damn game, but I still think that's fucked. That like, you can charge everybody the same price across the board, but cut a feature from the game entirely for everybody else for an entire year. It's ridiculous. Then again, it is Call of Duty, and I mean, Call of Duty has over the years built up a pretty bad reputation for pretty scummy shit, so I mean, I guess this isn't anything new. But yeah, so there's that. And another topic I wanted to talk about is very specifically mobile gaming, because it kind of ties into this. Very specifically, I want to talk about a subgenre of mobile gaming, which is gacha games. So, for people who don't know, gachas are these little plastic toy things. You've probably seen them at like shopping malls and arcades and whatnot. Basically, they're the little plastic capsule things that you put like a quarter in. Well, I mean, back in the day, it was like you put like a quarter in. Nowadays, it's like 50 cents. But yeah, you would put like a bit of money in, and then you get like a stupid like a little like a stupid little figurine or like a little toy or something, right? Like everyone remembers those when they were a kid. So gachas are games where you basically roll on things and you get a thing. So in most games, it's like you get a character for whatever game. I play a fair amount of gachas, as in like I've over a period of years, I've played my fair share amount to have an opinion on this as a topic, and I've never spent money on any of these games, by the way. Because here's the thing. The problem with gacha games is people are like, hey, it's gambling. And yeah, it totally is gambling. The thing is it's gambling with a very fine like little print on the bottom of the game's description. It basically tells you like, hey, you know, like, it's on you if you spend money. Like, we're not telling you to spend money. Like, we're not like enforcing it in any way, as in like we're not like making you buy it, but it's there in like little fine print where basically they tell you like, hey, you know, spend responsibly. It's like anything gambling. But of course, like anything gambling, the people who make the games would obviously want you to spend more money on it, because that's how they're making money. Is like by you spending money on characters and whatnot. That's how they're making money. So I'm going to use a couple games that I play as an example, and just have a little topic about this. So a gacha game that the one that I've invested the most in, as in like I play the most, is Fire Emblem Heroes, because I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan. And if it wasn't for the appeal of Fire Emblem characters, I wouldn't give a shit. I wouldn't touch the damn thing. But it has Fire Emblem characters, and I like Fire Emblem, so it's like whatever. Now, a lot of people, the topic with gacha, a lot of the times it's like people are like, oh, play this one because this one is more friendly. And that is so totally true. But here's the thing. Should you even play gacha games to begin with? Honestly, no. There's really not much there. Gacha games are just kind of like time wasters that you just kind of play just for shits and giggles to burn a little bit of time. But there's nothing like that appealing about gachas that you would need to play them. Like you're not missing anything. The thing though is a lot of people are like, oh, like I play gachas because they're good time killers when I'm on the train or whatever. And that is so totally true, because that's what I played gachas for. I played Fire Emblem Heroes on the commute from school and stuff. So the thing is the problem with gachas now is that people are like, the biggest issue with a lot of gachas is power creep. And to the people who don't know what the concept of power creep is simply put exactly what it sounds like. You have a game where basically I'm so not going to make that. I don't even know why I tried. But yeah, power creep is basically a concept where basically your characters that are good right now, there will literally be better versions of them down the line. Like they'll just straight up make something that's way better than what you have. Like what you thought was once best is no longer the best. So in a lot of gacha games, the problem is that people are spending money to purchase characters, more or less, right? Like you're spending money to buy shit. Like you're spending money to roll on characters and shit. So when you see your favorite character like a year down the line become completely fucking useless and benched, yeah, it's a shitty feeling. Me being a player who's played Fire Emblem Heroes since day one, I have a fair amount of characters from Fire Emblem that I like that just aren't used. Like they're my favorite characters, but like I just don't use them. And the reason is yeah, it's because they got power creeped as fuck. Like there's literally better alternatives. And the better alternatives are characters that I don't even really like, but I mean they're better, so I might as well use them. A lot of gachas run into that problem, and that's kind of one of the biggest issues that I think like I would have with gachas, and in general just introducing anybody to gachas, is to not really invest in them, because down the line everything's gonna get power creeped. The other gacha that I play is Grand Blue Fantasy, and the other is Dragalia Lost. And both of those games, by the way, are made by the same company, CY Games. And CY Games is, in my opinion, probably the most generous when it comes to these kind of like mobile gacha games. They give you a lot. like a free currency. Like they give you reasons to play the game without having to spend money. Fire Emblem Heroes isn't that bad, honestly, but Fire Emblem Heroes' biggest issue is just power creep is just rampant. And so as I was saying, when it comes to gacha games, it's not worth ever spending money on anything, just because you gotta understand the concept of power creep in these games. It happens in every single one of them. There was an interview with the Fire Emblem Heroes like director at Intelligent Systems, which is the developers that make Fire Emblem Heroes, and he I remember before the game released, he in an interview basically said, "Oh yeah, Fire Emblem Heroes will never run into the issue of power creep. We're making sure that will never happen." That is like the biggest fucking lie that you can say, because it's simply just not true. It's simple as that. If power creep is rampant as fucking Fire Emblem Heroes, it is ridiculous. There are characters that are completely dog shit unusable just due to how the game is. Is it really the fault of the guy that said that? I'd say like 50-50. What? No! That's bullshit. I landed on the fucking thing as it was. God damn it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, is it his fault? It's like 50-50, because here's the thing. You can only push it so far before the gameplay gets stale, and you need to start introducing new mechanics into the game, whether it comes in the form of skills and abilities and shit like that. And when it comes to Fire Emblem, it's just like... it was like inevitable. I think everybody knew. Grand Blue Fantasy has that issue also. Dragalia Lost, Dragalia, whatever how you want to pronounce it, runs into that same exact problem. Now, there's a new gacha game right now. That's the big shit that everyone is. Are you fucking kidding me? How did that happen twice? Okay, I'm just gonna it's that fucking camera perspective. I blame it on the camera. But yeah, so there's a new gacha game right now on the market that is currently the big talk, and everyone's talking about it. Well, I mean, not really, but it's the latest big one to come out from a big company, and that is from Nintendo, Pokemon Masters. So, Pokemon Masters. Me having played a shit ton of gacha games in the past, I've played even the ones that you would probably never really hear much of. I've played the Idolmaster ones and the Love Live one and whatnot. I've played all those random weird ones. The only one surprised. Okay, that's bullshit. What the fuck? He magnetically attaches to the fucking thing. Holy crap! All right, let's do this again. But yeah, maybe it's the conversation. Maybe it's the topic which I'm talking about. It's fucking cursed. But yeah, basically, Pokemon Masters is a Pokemon gacha based game where instead of pulling for what you would obviously think is you pull for you pull for Pokemon. No, you pull for trainers who have a specific Pokemon. So the issue right now that I see with a lot of gacha a lot of the problems that a lot of gacha games run into immediately is they're really not free to play friendly, and they're very predatory. Which isn't to say well, no shit, almost every gacha game is predatory. That's the whole purpose of them. But, oh my fucking god, this camera angle is awful. I don't even know, what the hell I'm above. Am I above that or am I below that? I can't even tell. Alright, well, let's try that again. But, yeah, Pokemon Masters is super fucking bad because most gacha games will give you a fair amount of currency in one given month, so players don't feel like they have to spend money. That way, players don't feel like spending is the only way they can actually enjoy playing the game. Pokemon Masters has been out for about a month now, I think. I want to say it's been out for a month. It's on a daily login. You get 30 gems, which is the currency used to roll for characters. You get 30 goddamn gems. You need 3,000 to roll. So just off of daily, not daily logging, this is daily bonus. So you have to like actually play the game to acquire this 30. So that's how much you get for free. It's not a lot, honestly. It's not a lot. Given that the content in the game doesn't actually give you gems once you clear them once. And there hasn't been any really new content that much to grind off of other than for grinding other shit. It's a pretty bad gacha game. Should you play Pokemon Masters? I would say fuck no. Pokemon Masters is one of the worst gacha games I think is on the market. And anybody who spent money in it, it's like, I mean, you're either a diehard Pokemon fan, and I guarantee you'll regret that shit down the line. I mean, I'm not saying, obviously, that's not to say, like, everyone will probably regret spending fuck ton of money at gacha games at some point. I'd imagine when, like, you hit a point in your life where you really need money, you're probably looking back and you're like, shouldn't have spent like $100 on that JPEG of, like, that character. But, yeah, point is, Pokemon Masters, it's really bad. Don't play it. Gameplay wise, it's not even like that amazing in my opinion, given that, I mean, it's a fucking mobile game and most gacha games have pretty bland gameplay anyways. Like, Fire Emblem Heroes is like an incredibly stripped down Fire Emblem game. It's just, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. That's simply how I put it. What else am I trying to say here about, okay, so basically, the problem is with gacha games is, I wanted to bring up this topic, is basically, like, gacha games get a lot of really bad rep. And that's, I don't want to say deserved, but it's like one of those things where people are like, oh, gacha games fucking suck because, like, you have to spend money. That's, like, so fucking totally not true. I've played Fire Emblem Heroes since launch. I have spent 0 cents in that goddamn game. And I have all the goddamn characters I could possibly want. I mean, not true, but like I got most of the ones that I would like to want. So it's not true. The big problem with gacha games is just that people can't control their goddamn addiction and they spend money. That's the real problem. I forgot how to shoot eggs. Hold on a second here. I'll figure this out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, like, the problem is that people can't control their damn addiction to gambling, so they're like, they see a gacha game and they're like, I'm gonna spend like a fuck ton of money in it. That's the problem. People need to control their addiction. And honestly saying, if you plan on playing a gacha game but you might feel like you're like, hey, I got like a little bit of history of gambling, or losing myself when it comes to spending money, I would recommend honestly just not playing them. Like, why put yourself in a scenario where you could potentially spend that much money? Instead, I would just say go buy an actual game. Like, instead of spending $100 on Fire Emblem Heroes and, you know, rolling for a chance to get a character, why not just go take that $100 and go buy the actual goddamn Fire Emblem games? Like, go buy the game. I mean, that's just my thought, but I mean, or maybe if you've already bought it, then like go buy something else. Go buy yourself a nice dinner or something. I don't know. The other thing I want to talk about though, is oh shit. The other thing I want to talk about though is basically just a lot of gaming shit has obviously. The big one right now is Last of Us 2, and Last of Us 2. They did the whole PlayStation does a very similar thing to Nintendo's Nintendo Direct, which totally, by the way, if you don't know about that meme, the hey, can I copy your homework, and it's like, yeah, sure, but change it up a little so I don't get caught or whatever. Sony's State of Play, which is what they call their video presentation, is a total like rip off of that shit. And I'm not saying this to badmouth Sony, but like it's ridiculous. Like, at first it was like, whatever, it's not that bad, to where it's even like slides to the next thing almost the same, but whatever. Point is, so Last of Us 2, that's the big thing that's out right now, and that's the big game that was shown off. And last time I was talking about how there was like a big ass game there's like a bunch of big games coming out in March. So I don't know why I thought Last of Us, I was thinking Last of Us 2 as the game where I thought Last of Us 2 got a release date. For some reason, I was like under the assumption that Last of Us 2 had a March release date. So I was sitting there going like, oh yeah, Last of Us 2 is in March also. Like, oh man, lots of big shit coming out for Sony. But yeah, no, Last of Us got a February release date, which is pretty big because now you got like, Final Fantasy 7 and Last of Us, like a month apart. Like that's a pretty good back-to-back like thing they got going on there. So yeah, good for PlayStation players. So here's the thing though. This is just my thoughts, and this is not confirmed or anything, so don't go thinking that this is true. But there's a pretty high possibility that Last of Us 2 will get a PS5 version on release of the PlayStation 5. And I'm saying this purely off the fact that PlayStation 4 received Last of Us 1 remastered, like not too far off. It's just my thought, but I would imagine that they are currently developing Last of Us, or maybe they already have. Like they develop both games under the same same time period, I guess. This is my thought, but who knows? So yeah, I'm just thinking, this is my thoughts, but anyone who wants to buy, holy shit, I can't see what's happening. I'm just getting hit stunned now. Cool. But yeah, anyone who wants to buy Last of Us 2, I would say hold off. That's bullshit. I got robbed. I got hit stunned in a blind spot that I couldn't see. Alright, so let's see here. This is 30 minutes. Alright, so I'll end this episode here for now, and then I'll just pick up right again, but it'll be the exact same conversation when it picks up. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next part.